That, I want to turn it over to Lieutenant Governor, who'll talk a little more about the reopening stuff in detail as she continues to lead our effort there. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. As Governor Baker said, on Monday, May 10th, we will open additional industries in Phase 4, Step 2. Almost a year ago, on May 18th, working with members of our Reopening Advisory Board, we announced our four-phased plan to reopen the Massachusetts economy. Secretary Keneally co-chaired this effort with me. Thank you so much for your leadership and your continued leadership in helping us recover and rebound here in Massachusetts. We know how difficult this has been for all of our businesses all across our Commonwealth. We want to thank you for your hard work, your creativity, your ingenuity, and your perseverance to get through these very, very challenging times, and for working with us through the guidances and protocols to return your workers back into your workplaces and to safely return customers back into your businesses. Just thank you so very much. And as the governor noted, the positive trends allow us to continue to do more relative to our reopening process, to lift more restrictions, and to see more of our economy reopen. As the governor also said, amusement parks, theme parks, and outdoor water parks, obviously this is a good time of year for that, will reopen at 50% capacity, effective on May 10th. They will be required to submit safety plans to the Department of Public Health. Road races and other large outdoor organized amateur or professional group athletic events will also take place with staggered starts required, and organizers will be required to submit safety plans to their local Board of Health or to the DPH, depending on the size of the events. These are really important. These organizations do an awful lot to help our nonprofits and our charities across our state. You can find more details about this on mass.gov/reopening. Youth and adult sports tournaments will be permitted for moderate and high-risk sports. Also effective May 10th, singing will be permitted indoors at performance venues and events, and there are strict requirements relative to this. You will be able to also find those at mass.gov/reopening. We are pleased that as the vaccination rates continue to rise, we can look forward to doing more. On May 29th, under the gatherings order, as the governor said, all gatherings will be allowed to increase to 200 people indoors and 250 outdoors in both public and private settings and event venues. We will be updating restaurant guidance and allow additional Phase 4, Step 2 industries to also open on May 29th. Street festivals, parades, and agricultural festivals will be permitted to open, and safety plans will need to be submitted to local boards of health to review. Bars, beer gardens, breweries, wineries, and distilleries will be permitted to open and will be subject to the restaurant rules. They will be required to operate with seated service only in a 90-minute limit, just like the restaurants. The restaurant guidance will be updated and will apply to both restaurants and those other establishments I just noted to no longer require food with alcohol service. Table party sizes will be increased to 10 on effective May 29th. Effective August 1, all remaining industries will be permitted to reopen, including dance clubs, nightclubs, indoor water parks. Industry restrictions will be lifted, including capacity increasing to 100% for all industries. The gatherings limit will be rescinded, and all industry-specific rules and guidances will be lifted, while businesses will be encouraged to continue just following best hygiene protocols, best practices. The Department of Public Health will continue to issue guidance as needed, including guidance still being required for indoor masking. As the governor mentioned, and this is something that all of you can help us with, it is our hope that if the public health data continues to trend in a positive direction and people continue to get vaccinated, plenty of appointments and places to go to get vaccinated, we will be able to take this step before August 1st. So everyone continue to do your part, and it's really critical that you stay connected to this process. This past year has been incredibly difficult for everyone. I do want to give a shout out to our friends in local government and our local boards of health who've done a tremendous job navigating all parts of our response to COVID. And we appreciate your continued support as we transition into this next phase, requiring your eyes and attention on safety plans that organizations present to you for processing. So thank you for your continued efforts on all fronts. I also just want to say an enormous thank you to all of you in business, large and small, downtown, main streets, wherever you are. We are so grateful for your ongoing efforts. And if we can continue to do our parts individually, get vaccinated, monitor hospitalizations and the rate of COVID, testing continues to be available for surveillance relative to the virus, we will be able to get to these next steps, and I look forward to returning to what we love so much about Massachusetts, our communities, our downtowns, main streets, our coastline, our Berkshires, all parts of it, as we love it so much. Seeing it return to normal will be truly a wonderful moment for all of us. So thank you for everything that you're doing, and very pleased that we're at this point to make further reopening announcements. It's with my pleasure that I now introduce Secretary Keneally.
Thank you, Governor. Thank you, Lieutenant Governor. Grateful for our ongoing partnership on reopening. Over the last several weeks, I've been able to get out to a number of our communities around the state and talk with small business owners and community leaders. While they know we're not out of this yet, there's a clear sense of optimism that motivates all of us. And I think this is a great time to look at where we've been and where we're going with respect to support for our small businesses, downtowns, and commercial districts. Main Street businesses across the Commonwealth have done a great job navigating the pandemic. The state has worked hard to support their efforts through targeted investments like our grant program administered by the Mass Growth Capital Corporation. With another $30 million announced last week, we have now awarded direct cash support totaling $682 million to more than 15,000 small businesses. These grants have enabled many small companies to make it through the darkest days of the pandemic this past winter. About 45% of these grants have gone to women-owned businesses, while about 40% of the awards went to minority-owned companies. Through small business technical assistance grants and matching grants for community development corporations and financial institutions, or CDCs and CDFIs, we're investing a record amount of funding into these organizations that provide valuable training, assistance, and financing. Soon, MGCC will be rolling out 2 new funding opportunities focused on small business digital tools and crowdfunding. We will continue to be a committed partner for our businesses as we move through recovery and into resilience and growth. Many of our small businesses, especially our restaurants and independent retailers, operate in our downtowns. And over the last 10 months, the Shared Streets and Spaces program has awarded $26 million to help 161 cities and towns make changes to curbs, streets, and parking areas to support outdoor activity, dining, and commerce. Applications are being accepted again for this program to help our communities gear up for the summer. Thanks to funding provided by our local Rapid Recovery Planning Program, 125 cities and towns are now developing locally driven strategies to help commercial districts recover quickly. 15,000 businesses will be impacted by this work. Through our regional pilot program, 37 cities, towns, and nonprofits are now implementing recovery initiatives that address unique regional needs and opportunities, including supply chain resiliency, small business support networks, and regional marketing. And as we all start to think about trips and travel, I was excited last week to join the Lieutenant Governor in announcing substantial funding for our travel and tourism industry. These new grants, along with a new capital program, will support the ongoing My Local MA campaign, which encourages people to shop, dine, and visit locally, as well as make investments in the great destinations that draw people to Massachusetts. There were some very dark days over the last year, especially this past winter, but our economic recovery is taking hold. More businesses are reopening, outdoor dining is returning, and people are returning to work. Thank you, and now we'll turn it over to Secretary Sudders.
Governor, Lieutenant Governor, Secretary Keneally, good afternoon, everyone. An important tool in our ability to administer almost 6 million first doses across the Commonwealth is our network of vaccination channels, which have included an expanded number of regional collaboratives. These collaboratives combine the resources of healthcare providers and local health departments to create sites that can vaccinate thousands of residents on a weekly basis. Regional collaboratives create an additional option for our residents in order to access vaccines in a manner that's most comfortable to them. Over the past few weeks, we've been working with regional collaboratives to make it easier for residents to book appointments online. This week, 3 more collaboratives will be listed on our pre-registration system and will be live. Southern Worcester County, which includes 12 municipalities, Uxbridge, Northbridge, Mendon, Douglas, Bellingham, Blackstone, Hopedale, Millville, Milford, Oxford, Upton, and Sutton. The Bristol Regional Collaborative, which includes Fall River, Dighton, Berkeley, Somerset, Swansea, and Attleboro. And the Chicopee Regional Collaborative, which includes Chicopee, Granby, South Hadley, and Holyoke. That brings the total number of collaboratives on the pre-registration system to 11. Statewide, regional collaboratives and local health departments account for well over 600,000 doses administered to date. And as a reminder, you can pre-register for vaccinations by visiting the mass.gov webpage.